Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone. In our last lecture, we used Python to solve a quadratic equation and found its solution or roots. You saw that Python can work just like a calculator, but much faster and without mistakes. Today, we will use Python to calculate some very familiar physics formulas, such as the equation of motion. For example, we find as S equals to VIT plus half AT squared. That's the second equation of motion. And here we'll be finding the displacement. Similarly, in the second example, we will find the force using the equation m multiplied by a. And in the third example, we will find the power by using the equation P equals to V into I, voltage into current. First, we will give values inside the program ourselves, just like in our last lecture. Then we will learn how Python can ask the user to enter values from the keyboard. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to write small Python programs that behave like a real calculator for physics, maths, or any other course formulas. The formulas are not new. These formulas, in fact, are not new to you. You already know them from physics. The only new thing is you are writing them in Python. So far, we are giving values ourselves. The Python is just doing the calculation. So in the next section, we will see how we can pass the values from the keyboard. So let's start. Now the first equation is this one. Okay, this is the equation of motion. So let's write it in Python. So S is equal to VIT. So plus half A T square, right? Now, because you see that VI is basically multiplied with T, so we'll write the multiplication operator that you have learned in the last lecture. So that is static. Then the resulting thing will be added with 1 by 2. And this is basically multiplied with A. So A is the acceleration. So we write like this. And then again, if you carefully observe that T is square, so we can write T square as T multiplied by T. Or we also let me write it in comment after hash it comment. So you can also write it like T double static 2. So when we use the operator double static, that means this is basically power. So let's write it in the power form. So we can write it T double static 2 means T square. So I think exactly this is the format how the Python writes these things. So you understand, to find the displacement, that is S, we need the value of VI, or the initial velocity. We need the value of T, and we also need the value of A. So let's say that we have the value VI equals to, say, 10, and we have value of T equals to, for example, 5. And then we have the value of the A, for example, is, you understand, acceleration. So A equals to 2 meter per second square. So let's run this code. So you understand we are using the Jupyter Notebook. So in Jupyter Notebook, we write in the cells, and in the cell, to run the cell, this is the button we need to run. So you see we got an error. So what is the error? invalid syntax here. So you see, instead of writing 8 square, mistakenly I have written 8 here because I was writing for the static or the multiplication operator, and I didn't press the shift button, so it mistakenly pressed this, showed this one. Okay, so that is the result. The code is successfully ran. Now to find what actually value of s is, so you understand we use the built-in function print. So there are few functions that we use them. So one of them is the print function, and what is the purpose of print function is to print whatever value inside it is provided. We'll talk more about the function in a separate lecture on it. So let's write s here, and let's rerun the cell. So we see the value of the s, which is displacement, is 75 meters. Let's take the second example. So um, we take the example of force. So you understand F equals to M into A, but MA means that M and A are multiplied. So that means in case of Python, the multiplication operator is static, that we have done already in the first lecture, and we have also done it here, you can see. So I just write M static A. Okay. And to find the value of the f, we just write the print function and we write f. Now you understand we cannot find the force if we are not given the values of uh, a and m. So let's say that we have value of a equals to 4 and value of m equals to um 3. So we can find the value of F, and F comes to be 12 Newton, right? Similarly, if we go for another example, that is, let's do it, the power calculation. So you understand electric power. You have done this in your physics, and you understand electric power is basically equals to product of voltage into uh, current. So you understand we denote voltage by V and I by um, uh, current by I, and the product or the multiplication operator is static. So again, if you want to find this value, print, we use the print, and print gives us the print displays the value of whatever we write inside it. Now to find the value of the uh, power, okay, we need V. So let's, for example, V equals to 12 volt, and then we have I equals to, say, 2 amperes. So if I run this one, it gives the error, and let's see what is the error. Okay, sorry, I made the mistake that I didn't write the correct name of the functions. Okay, so these things I'm doing basically tells you that if you do not write the correct spelling or name of the function we are calling, so it will give you mistake error. Similarly, if we are not using the proper signs such as operators like multiplication, because in like if I show you here, uh, you see, in everyday math, though Python is very similar to whatever we do in everyday life. I mean, the description or the writing we do, it's quite similar, but in some places you have to be a bit careful, and that is, you see that VIT, we don't write the multiplication sign here, and we by default or by convention, we understand that VIT is basically VI multiplied by T, but you cannot write it in Python. In Python, you have to use the operator static. If you don't write it, it will give you error. So similarly, if you don't write the functions you are calling, for example, we called up to now, we have used just, I think, the print function. So if I write the spelling of print function incorrectly, it will give me an error. So when you receive error or you get error, you don't be panic. Just look at it. Maybe somewhere either you have didn't use the operator sign, or you, for example, even if I write it, I have written capital I here. If I write it small I here, it will give me error because it will say I don't know what is small I. So these are a type of practice or your training. So uh, okay, now run it, and you see the result we receive is 24 watt. So these are the uh, few examples telling you how you write the physics or mathematics or any other subject or course formulas in Python, and you understand they are quite simple. So if I summarize up to now, we are just giving values by ourselves, and the Python is just doing the calculation. Now, what if I want the user? Okay, the user means, for example, you want to input some value from the keyboard. So how we can do it? Instead of just writing values here, like I've just written v equals to 12, instead of writing this thing, if I want to input values from the keyboard, okay, so for that we use a function that is called the input. So input function basically takes the value from the keyboard. Let me write it. So, for example, I copy paste this code again. Let me. So, okay. Now I don't want the to input here, but instead I want that we use we give it the input from the keyboard, or if I write the line of code that it prompts me or asks me to enter the value of v. So how we can do it? So we will use two more function, like you're familiar with slightly, right, with the print function. So let's write two more function that normally we use. So this function is, for example, float, and I write int. This is another function, and then first I write and then I'll explain you. So I write the text, uh, enter value of voltage. Okay, so the input, this one, sorry, this is not int, this is input, input. Okay, so basically input function, let me copy it to explain. The input value, the input function basically uh, is used to take the value from the input. Okay, that is from the keyboard. But if we use just input, what it does is the input expects a uh, so input basically asks the user to type something from the keyboard. But whatever we type using the input comes into Python as a string, not a number, right? So here, whatever we type, it will be string, or maybe I can just split it into two. So let string input. Okay. So this is the string input, but we need to understand that we need some numeric values. So the float basically converts the input into some numeric values. So let's we use this one. I've just split it. Normally we don't split, but just for making it clear, I have just split it into two parts so that you understand that this input basically means user to type something from the keyboard, and because the whatever you type it takes as the name or string or something like this. So because we need here some number, so what we will do, we will convert this string into a number. Okay, so let me do it again. Okay, so this is, let me run it so that you may understand. Okay, so you see that enter value of voltage. So I just, for example, I enter the same value we already have for the voltage, that was 12, I think. So when so you see, you get the same answer, that is 24. But previously we were typing here and now we are giving it from the input, right? So similarly, we can do the same thing for the current, and I just write here. Okay, so I combine the two lines. Maybe if it is confusing, for let me, okay, write in a separate, similar to what, okay. uh, I just call it current string. Okay, so this is equal to input, and I write enter value of current. Okay, so this is, and then I write the same because the input is though, if you type it, if you print it, it will show as a number, but basically it's not number, this is string, so I need to convert it into number. So I just write uh, I equals to float, and like this. So you see, if I run this one, okay, so enter value of voltage. So for example, that is 12. Then it will ask for the enter value of the current, and let take the same value as 2 previously we had. So if I enter, it gives me 24 uh, watt. So I think I end the lecture here, and I would like that you solve these equation using the this input from keyboard command. That is, if you want, I can write it in a generalized form so that you become okay, let me write it again. So okay, this is lecture is up to here. We already finished it. I just write it to show you that how you can use the in a one line. So if you are not able to do it in this way, it's no issue. This is same. Okay, so it's up to you. You can use either notation. So again, let me write float, and so voltage V, and this is current I. So I just make it into one line. That is, I am taking input. Okay, so using input, and then whatever I get, I convert it into float using the float. That is a numeric thing. Okay, so it will be similar, and I write this one, and you see we get the same result. Okay, so that's 24, this one 24. So I end the lecture here, and as your homework, you use the input value from the keyboard for the second equation of motion, and also for finding the um, force. So if I summarize, today we used a Python to calculate three important physics formulas, that is displacement, force, and power. And we saw that Python can do these same calculations that we do in physics, but automatically and very fast. We also learned how to take values from the user using the input, and you understand that using the input, if we take any value, whatever value is it, either it's some numbers or it's character, but it is basically this is has the data type of strings, not numeric values. So to overcome this problem, we use the float function. So in today's lecture, we have explored three built-in functions of the Python, that are print, input, and float. And I hope everyone's role or the meaning is clear to you, that print is used to display the values, whereas uh, input is used to take the something from the keyboard, whereas float is used to convert the whatever value we get from the input. In this particular case, it converts it into some numeric values, because we are dealing with numerical values, so we need numerical values. So now you can write small programs that take values from the keyboard and give answers like a real calculator. So I would like that you implement the earlier two examples using input from the keyboard. So that's all. Goodbye.